The rain didn't just fall, it poured, the kind that turns roads into rushing streams and makes every shadow look like a threat. Kira held her small nylon bag tight against her chest as she walked. She was slim and quiet, with an innocent beauty that often made people assume her life had been gentle. It hadn't. Her face was soft, but her reality had sharp edges. Her umbrella was flimsy, bending under the wind like it had given up. Her simple dress was already soaked at the hem. Her slippers splashed through shallow puddles as she hurried, her mind fixed on one thing: Grandma Ilara. Grandma Ilara was old and fragile, yet proud. Even when her cough sounded too deep, she would wave Kira away and insist, "I'm fine." Kira knew better. She had learned to read the silence between Grandma's words. She had stepped out for an errand and returned as quickly as she could. She never liked being out late, especially when the rain began. But delays always came when you were poor. Someone always needed help. Something always went wrong. Time always stretched. Her phone vibrated inside her bag. She didn't pull it out. She didn't need to check the name to know it was Selena. Selena was her childhood friend, someone who once shared ground nuts with her under the mango tree, but now carried herself like life owed her everything. Selena called often, not always out of love, sometimes just to remind Kira that she was watching. Kira ignored the call and walked faster. The road ahead was dim, blurred by the rain. The only clear sound was her own breathing. Then she heard footsteps behind her. More than one. Kira's chest tightened. She didn't turn. She only quickened her pace, telling herself it could be anyone. The rain made people hurry. The darkness made them close in. But the footsteps matched her speed. A hand grabbed her arm. Kira gasped and spun, her heart leaping into her throat. Two men stood close, their faces half hidden by rain and shadow. They didn't need to call her name. Their hands already spoke their intention. "Please," Kira said, her voice shaking. "Let me go." One tightened his grip. "Stop shouting," the other warned, glancing around. Kira tried to pull free. The man dragged her toward the roadside as if she weighed nothing. Mud sucked at her slippers. Her umbrella fell into the water and floated away like it had abandoned her. Kira screamed, "Let me go! Help! Somebody help me!" One of the men swore and shoved a cloth toward her face. The smell hit first, sharp chemicals mixed with something sweet and cheap. Kira turned her head, fought with every ounce of strength in her body, but the cloth pressed harder over her mouth and nose. Her eyes watered. She tried to hold her breath, but her lungs betrayed her. The smell seeped in, and the world shifted, not instantly like in movies, but in a slow, sinking haze. Her head grew light. Her limbs felt distant. She was still fighting, but her body began moving as if it belonged to someone else. Fear burned hot in her chest. Kira bit down hard. The man yelped and loosened his grip. She didn't think. She scratched, kicked, shoved, anything. Her nails found skin. Her elbow found a rib. She broke free and ran, chasing her life back. Rain slapped her face. Water filled her eyes. Her feet slipped, but she kept moving, stumbling forward, refusing to fall because she knew if she fell, she would never get up again. Behind her came heavy steps, splashes, low, angry voices. But the drug chased her, too. Her vision blurred. Her ears rang. Her head felt like it floated above her neck. Her body slowed, even as her mind screamed, "Run!" A bright security light appeared ahead, cutting through the rain. A compound, a gate that looked expensive, a building beyond it, quiet and private. The kind important people used when they wanted to stay hidden. Kira staggered to this gate and hit it with her palm. "Help me, please." No answer. She hit it again, weaker. Her knees shook. The gate wasn't fully locked. Maybe someone forgot. Maybe someone didn't care. Kira pushed. It opened slightly. Hope flooded her chest. She squeezed through and ran inside as if the compound were the only safe place left in the world. The driveway was smooth. The air inside felt different, cleaner, calmer. The noise of the street faded. Only rain remained, drumming outside like it wanted to break in. Kira reached the door of the lodge and pushed. It opened. Warm air and quiet met her. The inside smelled of polished furniture and expensive soap. She stepped in and nearly collapsed. She forced herself upright, pressing her back to the door as if she could hold it shut with her body. Her lips trembled. Her heart raced. Then she saw him. A man stood deeper in the room, tall and broad, wearing clothes that even in dim light screamed wealth. But he wasn't standing like a normal man. His posture was unsteady, like his balance fought him. His eyes were dark, unfocused, like someone trapped behind glass. This was Tristan Ashford. Although Kira didn't know that yet, Tristan was not the kind of man people met by accident. He was powerful, guarded, and used to control. The only son of Mrs. Elara Ashford, carrying a name that opened doors without asking. The owner of the luxury hotel that served the rich and swallowed secrets quietly. He had come to this lodge for privacy, a short rest before returning to work. He had accepted a drink offered to him. Nothing strange at first. Then the heat came, the dizziness, the sick confusion that told him something was wrong. He had tried to fight it, but the drug did not negotiate. Now he stood there breathing heavier than he should, staring at Kira like he couldn't place reality properly. Kira's mouth opened, but her words tangled. "I'm not here to steal," she whispered, backing away slowly. "Please, I'm just looking for help." Her voice sounded far away to her own ears. Tristan took a step toward her. Kira's stomach dropped. She turned, searching for another door, any door. But her legs betrayed her. The drug pulled her down like invisible hands. Tristan reached her before she could escape. Kira lifted her hands to push him away, but her strength was uneven, her body numb in the wrong places. Tristan's grip landed on her arms, not gentle, not careful, confused force from a man who wasn't thinking straight. "I need you." He didn't say her name. He didn't even know it, but something rough and urgent lived in his eyes, like he was seeing a stranger and a memory at the same time. Kira shook her head, panic rising. "No, please, please don't." Tristan's mouth crashed onto hers. It wasn't love, it wasn't romance. It was hard, consuming, unfamiliar, like he was trying to claim a truth he couldn't explain. Kira's eyes widened in shock. She pushed against his chest, tried to turn away, tried to scream, but the drug swallowed her voice and her strength in the same breath. Her world tilted. Her hands grew weak. The room blurred into pieces. Warmth, light, heavy breathing, and the smell of him all around her. The rain still beat outside like a warning. Kira fought until she couldn't. Some part of her wanted it too. She didn't know why. And when her body finally stopped obeying her, the night swallowed the rest. When Kira opened her eyes again, it was not peace that met her. It was pain, not sharp like a cut, something deeper, heavier. The kind that made her body feel unfamiliar. The kind that told her a boundary had been crossed. Even if her mind couldn't replay the moment clearly, her throat was dry. Her eyes burned. Her head felt too heavy to lift. She sat up slowly and looked around. A clean room, expensive, quiet. Her clothes were still on, but rumpled. Her hair was rough from struggle. The blanket over her legs looked like someone had placed it there after. Kira's chest tightened. Then the truth hit her in a wave so strong she almost couldn't breathe. She knew what had been taken from her. Her virginity, something she had guarded with fear and discipline, something she thought she would give only to a man she trusted, was gone, and she couldn't even properly identify the person who took it. Tears filled her eyes instantly. She covered her mouth with her hand so her crying wouldn't sound loud, but her shoulders still shook. She cried quietly, the way people cry when the world has shamed them, and they don't even know who to blame. She tried to remember his face. Nothing stayed, only fragments. Only that smell, clean, expensive, strong, stuck in her memory like a mark. Kira wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand and forced herself to stand. Her legs were weak. Her body felt ashamed even though she had done nothing wrong. As she reached for her nylon bag, something on a side table caught her eye. A pendant, green, polished, heavy-looking. Not costume jewelry, not something a poor girl should even touch. Kira stared at it, confused and frightened at the same time. She didn't have time to think. Her first instinct was survival. "Kira, Leave now." She took her bag with shaking hands and rushed out, heart pounding, tears still hot on her face. She didn't look back. She didn't ask questions. She only ran into the morning air like she was trying to outrun what had happened. Later, Tristan Ashford woke with a splitting headache and a sick taste in his mouth. He sat up sharply, memory in pieces, anger rising. His hand moved to his chest out of habit. The chain was gone. His Ashford jade pendant, the family heirloom he never removed, was missing. A cold dread crawled into his stomach. In that moment, everything that happened became real in the worst way. There had been a girl, a terrified girl, and somewhere in the broken night he had left the most important item on his body with a woman whose face he could not even clearly remember. Tristan's jaw tightened. His voice came out low and dangerous when he called his assistant. "Find her! Find her!" he said, and even before he fully understood why, one thing was already fixed inside him like a curse. He would not rest until he found the woman from that night. Meanwhile, Kira did not stop running until her lungs burned and her legs felt like they would snap. By the time she found her way back, the sky was already losing its darkness. The rain had reduced, but everything was still wet. Trees dripping, gutters overflowing, the ground soft like it could swallow a person. Her gown clung to her body. Her slippers were soaked. Her eyes were swollen from crying. But she forced her face into something blank before she reached the compound. Because in the village, people did not ask what happened. The moment she turned into the path that led to her house, she saw two women standing under a neighbor's zinc roof, watching the road like they had been waiting for her to appear. Their eyes moved over her from head to toe. One of them clicked her tongue. "So, you have returned." Kira kept walking. She held her bag tighter. The other woman's voice rose loud enough for anyone inside their rooms to hear. "A young girl spent the whole night outside, and now she's walking in like a saint." Kira did not answer. She didn't even look at them. Her body was tired, her head still heavy, and her heart felt like it had been squeezed. But the women were not done. "Don't worry," the first one said, half laughing. "She will still come and pretend she is innocent. These days, you will see someone acting like a church girl, but she is moving around with men at night." Kira's fingers tightened around her bag strap until her knuckles whitened. Not because she cared about their words, but because her shame was already too much, and she refused to add their poison to it. She pushed open their small door. The smell of dampness hit her immediately. The roof had started leaking again. Water dripped from two different spots, landing in small bowls and buckets they had placed around the room. The floor was wet in patches. One corner of the thin mattress was soaked. Grandma Alara sat on a low stool, wrapped in an old shawl. Her face was tired, but her eyes were alert the moment she saw Kira. "Kira?" Grandma called softly, as if her voice might break. "Where have you been? I have been worried." Kira dropped to her knees beside her immediately, forgetting her own pain for a moment. I'm here, she said quickly, touching Grandma's arm. "I know, I'm fine, I'm here." Grandma's eyes searched her face the way mothers and grandmothers did, like they could read truth from skin. "You're shaking," Grandma said. "Are you sick?" Kira forced a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. "It's the rain. The rain caught me." Grandma frowned and looked up at the ceiling when another drop landed loudly in a bowl. "This roof," Grandma murmured. "This roof wants to finish us." Kira turned and stared at the leak, then at the bucket that was already almost full. Her throat tightened. This was the real humiliation. Not the mouths outside, not even the night she wanted to forget. It was this, standing in a house that could not protect her grandmother. The rain was pouring. Kira wiped her face quickly, then stood up and began shifting the buckets, moving with purpose, as if action could silence pain. "I will fix it," she said. "It will not be like this forever." Before Grandma could reply, a sharp knock came on the doorframe. Kira didn't need to turn to know the knock belonged to someone who didn't respect boundaries. A woman pushed the door wider without waiting. It was one of the loud neighbors from outside, her wrapper tied high, her head covered like she came to judge, not to greet. She looked around the room with disgust, as if poverty was an offense. "So, you have entered. Your grandmother has been calling your name." Grandma's voice was quiet. "She is back now." The neighbor ignored Grandma and faced Kira fully. "You should be careful," she said, lowering her voice like she was sharing wisdom. "A girl cannot be spending nights outside and still expect people to respect her. It's not done." Kira continued arranging the buckets without looking up. The woman's eyes narrowed. "Are you not hearing me?" Kira finally looked at her, calm, tired, and unbothered. "I heard you," she said simply, "and I have nothing to say." The neighbor scoffed. "See pride." She shifted her wrapper and leaned closer as if she had an announcement. "Kira, listen. Your problem is that you are always forming a strong girl. A strong girl does not stop hunger. A strong girl does not patch the roof." Kira said nothing. The neighbor continued, "There is a man that has been asking about you, the one that sells spare parts by the junction. He said if you agree, he will bring the bride price plenty. He will repair this place, and you will stop suffering." The message was clear, and it had nothing to do with love. Marry for survival. Sell yourself into a house you may not even like so you can breathe. Kira's stomach turned, but she kept her voice steady. "I'm not marrying anybody because of the roof," she said. The neighbor laughed like Kira was amusing. "So what is your plan? To keep sitting here and catching rain? Your mates are marrying and building houses. You are here carrying a bucket up and down." Kira turned to Grandma and adjusted her shawl gently. "My plan is to work," she said. "To repair this house. To take care of my grandma. That is all." The neighbor's face changed, annoyed that Kira was not begging for advice. "You will work," she repeated. "Work where? With what education? With what connection?" Kira's eyes did not flinch. "I will find something." The neighbor hissed and stepped back. "Stubborn girl." Then she pointed at the wet floor. "Anyway, think about it. Hunger is not romance. When your stomach is crying, you will remember my words." She left the way she came, swinging the door open like she owned it. Kira exhaled slowly and continued cleaning the water. Grandma watched her for a long moment. "Life is hard," Grandma said softly, "but don't let it push you into a prison." Kira swallowed. "It won't," she said. Another knock came, lighter this time. Before Kira could answer, a familiar voice called from outside. "Kira, Kira, are you inside?" Kira froze. She knew that voice. Selena stepped in like she was stepping into a place she didn't belong anymore. Selena was Kira's age, but she carried herself like someone older and above everyone. Her skin was glowing, her hair neat, her slippers clean. Small details that showed she had been enjoying life more than Kira had. She looked around the room and made a small sound in her throat, halfway between pity and mockery. "Ah," she said, "so it is still like this." Kira kept her face blank. "Good morning." Selena smiled, but it didn't feel warm. "You didn't sleep at home," Selena said casually like she was discussing market prices. They were already talking outside. Kira bent to wipe the floor again. "Let them talk." Selena's eyes moved to Grandma. "Grandma, good morning." Grandma nodded slowly. "Good morning, my daughter." Selena turned back to Kira, her voice dropping into that fake, gentle tone people used when they wanted to sound kind while cutting you. "Kira, I heard you want to go and work outside in the city." Kira did not answer immediately. She just continued what she was doing. Selena didn't wait. "Let me talk to you like a sister," she said. "City people don't joke. They look down on village girls. You have no money, no education, no anybody. If you go there, you will suffer and come back worse." Kira straightened up slowly and faced her. "Maybe," she said, "but I will still go." Selena's smile widened a little, almost amused. "You are always dreaming," she said. "But fine. If you insist on forming brave girl, I won't stop you." She reached into her bag and brought out some money, neat notes folded like it was nothing. "I can help you," Selena said, holding it out. "Every month, just stay here and take care of Grandma. Don't go and disgrace yourself outside. It's not your world." Kira stared at the money. It sounded like help to someone who didn't understand how expensive survival was. It was small, insulting, almost like Selena wanted to buy Kira's courage in silence. Kira looked away from the money and glanced at Grandma. Grandma's eyes were on Kira, quiet and worried, like she was waiting to see what her granddaughter would choose. Kira turned back to Selena. "Keep it," she said. Selena's smile faltered. "Kira, I said, keep it," Kira repeated, calm. "I'm not staying here to die slowly. I will work. I will fix this roof. I will take care of my grandma properly." Selena's eyes hardened for a second, but she covered it quickly with another smile. "All right," she said, sliding the money back into her bag. "If you like suffering, who am I to stop you?" She adjusted her hair and stepped toward the door. "But don't blame anybody when reality hits you," she added. "City life is not pity. It will swallow you." Kira did not respond, because the truth was this: whatever the city would do to her, she was already drowning here. And her priority was not the village mouths, not Selena's mockery, not even her own pain. Her priority was the old woman sitting under a leaking roof trying to breathe. Kira knelt beside Grandma again and held her hand. "We will be fine," she whispered, more like a promise to herself than anyone else. Outside, the rain started again. Soft at first, then harder, and the roof answered immediately, dripping into the bowls like an angry reminder. But Kira did not look up this time. She had already made up her mind. Kira stayed kneeling beside Grandma long after Selena left. The rain kept tapping the roof like it had unfinished business. Water dropped into the bowls with that steady, annoying sound that never let you forget where you were in life. "We will be fine," Kira had whispered, holding Grandma's hand. But even as she said it, she knew fine would not come by prayer alone. It would come by work, by risk, by leaving. That same morning, Kira packed the few things she owned, not because she wanted to, but because she had already decided. And this time her mind did not shake. She didn't come to the city blindly. She was going to meet Lila. Lila was the daughter of one of their village neighbors, someone who used to greet Kira with sweet words during festive seasons. Lila had sent word through people that she could help Kira get work in a luxury hotel. And in Kira's situation, help was not something you argued with. It was something you grabbed before it disappeared. Grandma Elara watched Kira fold her dresses and tie her small bag. "You're really going?" Grandma said quietly. "Yes," Kira answered. Grandma's eyes shone with worry. "City life is not soft." Kira nodded. "I know, but Grandma, this roof is not soft either." She knelt and kissed Grandma's hand. "I will send money as soon as I find work," she promised. "I'll start fixing this place. I will not leave you like this." Grandma touched her face gently. "Just don't let anybody use your desperation against you." Kira swallowed hard. "I won't." Then she stood, adjusted her bag, and stepped out. She didn't look back too many times, not because she didn't love Grandma, but because if she looked back too much, she would lose the courage to go. While Kira was leaving a leaking roof behind, Tristan Ashford was standing inside glass and marble, surrounded by wealth that did not bring peace. His office sat high above the city, quiet and expensive, the kind of place where even the air seemed controlled. The leather chairs looked untouched. The floor shone. The walls carried framed awards like trophies. But Tristan's face was not the face of a man enjoying any of it. There was urgency in him, a tension that made even his silence feel sharp. Across from him stood his assistant, Marcus, a neat, careful man who knew when to speak and when to stay silent. Tristan didn't sit. He stood by the window, then turned abruptly. "Find her," he said. Marcus's eyebrows lifted slightly. "Sir, the woman from that night." "Yes." Tristan's hand went to his chest again, out of habit. Nothing. The chain was still missing, and the absence irritated him like an open wound. "My jade pendant," Tristan said, his voice controlled. "The Ashford pendant." Marcus nodded once. He knew it wasn't just jewelry. Tristan's eyes hardened. "That pendant is identity, bloodline, respect. It has carried my family name longer than I have been alive." He paused. Then his voice dropped a little, less like an order and more like a truth he didn't like admitting. "She is tied to my future, and she is tied to my responsibility." Marcus didn't interrupt. Tristan continued. I don't care how long it takes. Go back to the village if you have to. Start from where it happened. Find the girl." "Yes, sir," Marcus said immediately. Tristan's gaze held him, and when you find her, don't frighten her. Don't insult her. Handle it carefully. Marcus nodded again. "Understood." Tristan's jaw tightened. "Bring her to me." By the time Kira reached the city, her body was tired, but her mind was still pushing forward. She clutched the address Lila had given her, repeating it quietly like a prayer. The roads were loud. The crowd was thick. Everyone looked like they knew where they were going. Only Kira looked like someone who was still learning how to breathe in a new world. When she finally got close to the luxury hotel where Lila worked, the rain returned. Not a small rain, real rain. People ran under canopies. Cars rolled past with no pity. Kira stood for a moment, confused, watching her dress begin to darken again. Lila said, "Meet me at the hotel." Kira couldn't enter looking like soaked bread. She spotted a car parked nearby, clean and shiny, with a driver inside. In her mind, it looked like a cab waiting to pick up a customer. She didn't think too much. She hurried to the back door and opened it, and froze. A man was already seated inside, well-dressed, calm, the kind of man you didn't sit near unless you had a reason. His suit looked expensive without trying. His face was sharp and quiet, and even though he wasn't smiling, he still looked handsome in a way that made Kira's heart trip. Kira blinked, confused. Are city cabs this clean? Is this how rich people move around? She swallowed and sat carefully, keeping her bag on her lap like a shield. "Sorry," she said quickly. "I thought this was a cab." The man looked at her slowly. His eyes were dark, unreadable. This was Tristan Ashford. Tristan's first reaction was pure shock. Not because a stranger entered a car, people tried foolish things every day, but because this girl entered his car like she belonged there, soaked from rain, nervous, yet still standing on a quiet kind of courage. For a second, Tristan almost spoke, almost told her to step out. Then something hit him. A scent. Faint, but familiar enough to tighten his chest. Tristan's gaze stayed on her face longer than it should have, as if he was trying to force his memory to sit still. Kira felt his stare and shrank inward, suddenly aware she might have made a mistake. "Are you going to the Ashford Hotel?" she asked softly. Tristan didn't answer her question. He turned slightly and spoke to his driver as if Kira was not even there. "Drive," he said. The driver obeyed immediately. Kira exhaled quietly, relieved. But as the car moved, her stomach tightened. The man beside her didn't talk. He didn't ask her name. He didn't complain. Yet his presence felt heavy and strange. Kira tried not to stare at him again, but her mind kept whispering the same thing. Why does he feel familiar? Not his face. Something else. Like the air around him carried a memory she couldn't fully touch. Tristan sat like stone, but his mind was working. Because all morning he had been angry about a missing pendant, and now a village girl had walked into his car carrying a scent that reminded him of a night he couldn't explain. The car stopped at the hotel entrance. Kira stepped down quickly, muttering a small thank you out of habit. Tristan didn't respond. He only watched her disappear toward the entrance with that same hard, quiet gaze. Inside, Kira looked around anxiously. This place was not for people like her. The floors were too clean. The reception smelled expensive. Even the staff walked like they had rehearsed their steps. Then she saw her. Lila. Lila looked polished. Clean shoes, neat hair, confident face. She smiled the moment she saw Kira, but it was the kind of smile that measured you while pretending to welcome you. "Kira?" Lila called, coming forward. "So, you made it." Kira's shoulders loosened a little. "Yes, I came as you said." Lila's eyes ran over Kira's dress and wet hair briefly. Then she clicked her tongue like a concerned sister. "City will deal with you if you're not smart," she said, then lowered her voice. "But don't worry. If you listen to me, you will settle." Kira nodded quickly. "I'm ready. I just need work." Lila leaned closer. "You can earn good money here. If you're sharp, every month is not a problem." Kira's heart jumped. That amount could change Grandma's life. Before Kira could speak, another staff member passed behind them and muttered, not even bothering to hide her voice. "See this one? She doesn't even know she's being sold." Kira turned sharply. "What did you say?" The staff member rolled her eyes and walked away. Lila laughed lightly, waving it off. "Ignore her. Some people are bitter." Then she held Kira's elbow as if guiding a younger sister. "Come," Lila said. "Let me take you to the person in charge. Once he approves you, you're in." Kira followed, hope and fear walking side by side in her chest. They entered an office. A man sat behind a desk, leaning back like other people's lives bored him. His clothes were fine, but his eyes were not. His eyes were the kind that moved too boldly. This was Mr. Harlan. Lila greeted him with a sweet smile. "Sir, good morning. This is Kira. She came from the village. She wants work." Harlan's gaze landed on Kira and didn't move away the way decent eyes should. He stood halfway and reached toward her as if to greet her properly, but his hand brushed her arm in a slow, unnecessary way. Kira jerked back immediately. Harlan smirked. "So, you don't like to be touched?" Kira's voice shook, but she tried to stay firm. "Please, sir, don't touch me like that." Harlan's face hardened. "Do you still want this job?" he snapped. "Get out." Kira's stomach dropped. Her first thought was Grandma under that leaking roof. Her second thought was the city swallowing her exactly the way Selena said it would. Lila quickly stepped in, smiling like she was calming a child. "Sir, she just came from the village," Lila said lightly. "She doesn't know anything. She's ignorant. You have to train her well." Kira heard it clearly this time, and her skin went cold, because those words did not sound like work. They sounded like the beginning of a trap. Kira stood in front of Mr. Harlan's desk with her throat tight and her palms damp. She could feel Lila's eyes on her, like Lila was silently warning her not to spoil the opportunity. Harlan leaned back again, looking satisfied with the fear he had created. "Go outside," he said, waving his hand as if Kira was a fly. "If we call you, we call you." Kira didn't argue. She just turned and walked out, holding her bag tightly. Her heart was beating too fast, and her mind was repeating Grandma's voice. "Don't let anybody use your desperation against you." Outside the office, the hotel felt even bigger, even colder. People moved with confidence. Kira moved like someone afraid of stepping wrong. She stood near the hallway, waiting, trying to breathe normally. Then she heard a sudden cry. A soft body hit the floor with a painful sound. Kira turned quickly. An elderly woman had slipped on the wet tiles. She was dressed simply, her wrapper plain, her slippers worn. Her hands shook as she tried to push herself up, but the floor was too slippery for her weak legs. Kira rushed over immediately, not thinking about anything else. "Ma, are you okay?" she asked, kneeling beside her. The woman's face tightened from pain. "My leg," she whispered. Kira held her carefully under the arm and helped her sit up. Water had spilled nearby, and the old woman's palm was dirty from the fall. Before Kira could even settle her properly, 2 hotel staff members rushed over, not with concern, but with annoyance. "What is this?" one snapped. "How did she enter here?" The other looked the woman up and down with disgust. "Security, come and carry her out. She's disturbing the place." The elderly woman's eyes widened. "I'm not disturbing anybody," she said, trying to steady her voice. "I came to check in." The staff member laughed. "Check in with these clothes? Do you know where you are?" Kira's chest tightened. She hated the way they were talking to her, the way they looked at her like she was dirt. Kira rose slowly, still supporting the old woman. "A guest is a guest," Kira said, her voice calm but firm. "You can't treat her like this because she looks poor." Both staff members turned to her sharply. "Who are you?" one asked, already irritated. "Are you the one to teach us our job?" Kira swallowed, but she didn't back down. "She fell," Kira said simply. "She could have broken something. Help her. That is what you should be doing." The staff member opened his mouth to insult her when a deeper voice cut through the hallway. "That's enough." The hall went still. Kira turned, and her heart jumped. The man from the car, the well-dressed stranger she had entered a car with. He was walking toward them now, not alone. People moved with him the way water moved around a stone. A few staff straightened immediately. Someone's face went pale. Kira's stomach dropped. Oh no. She stared at him, and recognition hit her like a slap. This was not a random passenger. This was the boss. Tristan Ashford walked closer, his expression controlled. His eyes briefly met Kira's, and something unreadable passed through them, like he also recognized her from the ride. Kira's throat went dry. I entered his car by mistake. I spoke to him like a normal person. Now I just spoke boldly in front of his staff. Fear crawled up her spine. I've offended him. I will lose this job on my first day. Tristan's gaze moved from Kira to the staff members. Is this how you treat people here? He asked calmly. One of the staff tried to laugh it off. Sir, this woman is a guest, Tristan cut in. And even if she wasn't, she is still a human being. The staff member stammered. Sir, the floor was wet. She fell. And you were about to throw her out? Tristan said, his voice still low, still controlled. Instead of helping her, he turned slightly toward the elderly woman. Ma, he said, respectful now, are you hurt? The woman looked at him closely, her face softening. I'm fine, she replied, though her voice still shook. It was just the water. Tristan nodded, then looked at the staff again. This hotel will not be built on disrespect, he said. Customer first, dignity first, always. The staff members nodded quickly, ashamed and frightened. Tristan then turned to Kira. For 1 second, she thought he would scold her too, but he only said, Well done. Kira blinked, surprised. You did the right thing, Tristan added, then looked away as if he had already finished the matter. He gestured to the staff. Get her a chair, bring water, and clean this floor properly. Then he walked away, with the elderly woman guiding her with the kind of calm care that made people obey without argument. Kira stood there still holding her bag, her heart still racing. She watched him leave and felt something strange in her chest. Relief mixed with fear because now she knew who he was, and that knowledge made everything feel more dangerous. Later that day, Lila found her. Lila's face was bright with excitement, but her eyes were sharp. You're lucky, Lila whispered, pulling Kira aside. Very lucky. Kira's mouth was dry. Am I hired? Lila nodded. Yes, you're hired. Kira almost collapsed from relief. Then Lila added quickly, But listen, don't start forming big girl. You have no higher education, so you'll start from cleaning. Kira didn't argue. Cleaner or not, money was money. Money meant Grandma could eat. Money meant the roof could be repaired. Kira nodded. I'll do it. Lila smiled. Good. Just be smart here. Kira didn't notice the way Lila's gaze flicked towards Harlan's office like someone checking if the trap was still set. But Harlan noticed Kira. From behind his desk, he watched her through the glass for a moment, his eyes cold. He didn't say anything. He only marked her silently as a problem. That night, the hotel hosted a small welcome dinner for new staff. It wasn't luxury for the workers, but it was still better than anything Kira had ever attended. There was food arranged on tables, drinks placed neatly, music playing softly. Kira sat stiffly, trying to behave like she belonged. Lila sat close to her, talking too much, laughing too loudly. Today was your breakthrough, Lila said, nudging her. But you have to maintain it. A drink was pushed toward Kira. Toast, someone said. Toast Manager Harlan, thank him for approving you. Kira's stomach tightened. She looked at the glass and shook her head. I can't drink, she said quietly. I'm fine. Lila frowned. Kira, don't be stubborn. It's just a little. Kira pushed it away gently. I really can't. Another person laughed. Village girl always acting holy. Kira kept her face straight. Lila leaned closer, her voice lower now. Do you want trouble? Just do small. Don't embarrass me. Kira swallowed. The room felt too hot. I'm full, she insisted. Please. Lila's smile stayed, but it hardened at the corners. Okay, she said softly. No problem. But her eyes said something else. It happened later quietly, not in the open, not where people could witness it properly. Kira was called aside. Small errands, small instructions, small movements that led her away from the crowd. By the time she realized she had been separated, her head was already starting to feel strange. The corridor light looked too bright. The floor felt like it was moving slightly under her feet. She touched her forehead. Her skin was hot. "Kira, what is happening?" She tried to turn back to the dinner hall, but her legs were heavy. A door opened somewhere close. A shadow moved. Kira's heart kicked. She heard a voice, low, confident, close. Her body reacted before her mind could understand. Panic rushed through her. She turned quickly and moved away, breathing hard, trying to escape whatever was coming. The hallway blurred. Her palms were cold. Her throat tightened. She pushed open the nearest door she saw, just to hide, just to breathe, just to get away. She stumbled inside. The room was quiet, expensive, dimly lit. And then she saw him, Tristan Ashford. He was inside the room, standing near a table, his jacket off, sleeves rolled slightly, like he had stepped in briefly to handle something. Kira's drugged mind didn't register logic. All it registered was fear. It's him. He's the one. He's the pervert. She took one step back, shaking. "Don't come near me," Kira whispered, her voice trembling. Tristan turned sharply, surprised. "Kira," he said without thinking, then stopped, realizing he didn't even know her name. Kira's eyes were wide. Her whole body was shaking. Tristan moved one step forward, hands half raised, not to grab her, but to calm her. "Stop," he said quickly. "You're not okay." Kira's fear exploded. She lunged at him. She slapped his chest, scratched his arm, pushed at him with a strength that came from panic, not power. Tristan tried to hold her wrists gently, trying to stop her from hurting herself or breaking something. "Kira, listen to me!" She kicked hard. Tristan grunted and loosened his hold, shocked. Kira didn't stop. She bit him. Her teeth sank into his arm like she was fighting for her life. Tristan swore under his breath, stepping back, stunned more than angry. He stared at her, her trembling body, her unfocused eyes, her broken breathing, and then his face changed, not to rage, to realization. "She's drugged," he said quietly, more to himself than to anyone. Kira swayed, blinking slowly, her strength draining as fast as it had come. Tristan moved fast, catching her before she fell. He lowered her onto the couch, carefully, then grabbed his phone. "Doctor," he said into it immediately. "Come now. Bring whatever you need. Someone has drugged a staff member." His eyes hardened as he looked toward the door. Outside, not far away, Mr. Harlan had already heard whispers. Someone had seen Kira leave. Someone had seen which corridor she entered. And when Harlan realized the truth, that Kira had stumbled into Tristan Ashford's room, his blood ran cold, because if Tristan investigated, Harlan's secret would be exposed. So Harlan did what guilty men always did. He disappeared. Back in the room, Tristan looked down at Kira, unconscious now, her face tight even in sleep, as if her body still remembered fear. And again, that scent rose faintly from her skin. That same familiar scent. His chest tightened. His eyes narrowed because for the second time a woman had ended up in his space, and his body remembered something his mind still could not hold clearly. The sound of approaching footsteps filled the corridor. Tristan stood beside the couch, watching Kira's face, as if he was trying to read what she couldn't say. Her lashes trembled slightly. Her lips were dry. Even in sleep, her body looked tense, like it had not accepted safety yet. When the hotel doctor arrived, he moved quickly, checking her eyes, her pulse, the tightness in her breathing. "She's been drugged," the doctor confirmed, his voice low. Tristan's jaw tightened. How long before it wears off? "By morning, she should be more stable," the doctor replied. "But she will be weak, dizzy, confused." Tristan nodded once, then looked at the security men behind the doctor. "Lock this down," he ordered. "Nobody comes in and out without my approval." The doctor glanced at Tristan's arm. "Sir, you're bleeding." Tristan looked down and saw the bite mark clearly now, raw, angry, but he didn't care. "Treat her first," he said. Kira woke slowly like someone climbing out of water. Her head was heavy, her mouth was dry. The memory of the night before came in broken pieces, lights, fear, running. The door she pushed open, the man's face, his scent, her own panic. She sat up and flinched at the softness of the couch. Where am I? The room was clean, quiet, expensive. Then she remembered, Mr. Ashford. Her eyes widened. She stood up quickly, but dizziness hit her like a wave. She grabbed the arm of the couch and steadied herself, breathing hard. Before she could move toward the door, it opened. 2 men entered, dressed neatly, speaking with careful respect. "Good morning, young madam," one of them said. Kira froze. Her heart jumped straight into her throat. "Who are you?" she asked, stepping back. "Why are you calling me that?" The man smiled politely. "We are here on the CEO's orders. We came to take you home." Kira's stomach turned. "Take you home? To where?" Her mind rushed with fear. "Is this punishment? Is this kidnapping? Did I ruin my life yesterday?" "No," Kira said quickly, shaking her head. "No, I'm a staff member. I'm not anybody's. I didn't do anything." "I just calmed down." A familiar voice cut in. Tristan Ashford stepped into the room. He looked fresh and controlled again, like the night before never happened. Only the faint mark on his arm, hidden under his sleeve, suggested otherwise. Kira's eyes locked on him. Fear and embarrassment crashed together inside her. "I'm sorry," she blurted out. "Sir, I didn't know it was your room. I didn't know it was you. I thought—" "I know what you thought," Tristan said calmly. Kira swallowed. "I attacked you." Tristan's expression didn't change. "You were drugged?" Kira's throat tightened. "I was drugged." "Yes," Tristan replied, voice firm. "Someone tried to take advantage of you last night." Kira's stomach dropped. The shame returned sharply, but this time it had anger inside it. Tristan continued, "You stumbled into my suite by mistake. You panicked. You fought. You did what you could to protect yourself." Kira's eyes burned. "So, I'm not being fired?" she asked softly, almost afraid to breathe. Tristan looked at her for a moment. "No." Kira's shoulders loosened like a rope had been cut. "Thank you," she whispered, then louder. "Thank you, sir." Tristan nodded slightly as if thanks was not what he wanted. "I'm investigating," he said. "The personnel manager, Harlan, I suspect he's involved in shady deals. I suspect he's been running things that should not be running in my hotel." Kira's hand shook. "Mr. Harlan?" "Yes," Tristan said. "And I'll need your statement when you're fully stable. You don't have to fear him. Not anymore." Kira stared down at her slippers, her mind racing. Harlan, Lila, the dinner, the pressure to drink. The pieces were joining. Kira swallowed hard. "Sir, thank you." Tristan motioned to the men. "Take her to the staff dormitory." Kira's eyes snapped up. "Dormitory is fine," she said quickly. "I don't need anything more." Tristan gave a small nod. "Good rest." Kira turned to leave, but her legs were still weak. She walked out carefully, her heart beating fast. As she followed the men down the corridor, she kept feeling Tristan's eyes on her back. It made her nervous. It made her confused, and it made her hurry away as if she could run from questions that were starting to form in her mind. By afternoon, the whole hotel was buzzing. "Have you heard? The CEO's wife is here." Kira heard it first in whispers, staff murmuring near the staircase, cleaners exchanging looks, people smiling like gossip was sweet food. Kira paused with a mop in her hand. CEO's wife. She didn't even know the CEO had a woman. Then someone squealed near the entrance. Kira looked up and saw Selena. Selena walked into the hotel like she owned the building. Her dress was fitted and expensive, her hair perfectly laid, her perfume loud. She didn't look like someone visiting. She looked like someone arriving to collect what belonged to her. Kira's face lit up for a second before her mind could stop it. Selena was here, in the city, her friend. Kira felt sudden relief, like seeing a familiar face in an unfamiliar world. "Selena!" Kira called, smiling as she moved closer. Selena turned slowly. Her eyes landed on Kira's uniform, and something sharp crossed her face. Then Selena's lips curved into a smile that wasn't friendly. "Kira," she said, loud enough for people nearby to hear. "Is this you?" Kira nodded eagerly, still happy. "Yes, I came yesterday. I'm working here now." Selena's eyes moved over her from head to toe like Kira was dirt on her shoe. So, you really came? Selena said with a small laugh. And this is what you're doing? Cleaner? Kira's smile faded. Selena, what's wrong? Selena scoffed. What's wrong? Look at you. You're still the same village girl. Same suffering. Kira blinked, shocked. This was not the Selena she knew, or maybe it was the Selena she had refused to see clearly. Kira? Selena continued, voice dripping with pride. This is not your level. Don't come near me like that. People will think I'm connected to you. Kira's mouth opened slightly. No words came out. Selena leaned closer, lowering her voice just enough to feel like an insult meant only for her. You're a bumpkin, Selena said. Don't disgrace yourself. Kira's eyes stung. But before she could even respond, Selena lifted her chin and announced to a nearby staff member, Tell them, I'm here to see my husband. Kira froze. Husband? People around giggled and murmured. Selena turned back to Kira as if she suddenly remembered something. Oh, I forgot, she said sweetly. You don't know. Kira's voice came out weak. Know what? Selena smiled wider. Tristan Ashford chose me. Kira's chest tightened. Selena shrugged carelessly. Don't even start thinking it's love. Love doesn't pay bills. I love his money and the status. That's enough. Kira felt like the floor shifted under her. Selena with Tristan. The man who had helped her. The man she recognized from the ride. The man whose scent still sat strangely in her memory. Kira stared at Selena, stunned, and Selena walked away like Kira was nothing. Inside Tristan's private office later, Selena sat comfortably like she belonged there. Marcus stood near the door, watching quietly. It was Marcus who had first brought Selena in, mistaking her for the woman from the night Tristan had been drugged during inspection. Selena had pushed the story with confidence, and confidence was convincing when people didn't have the full truth. Tristan sat behind his desk, his expression unreadable. Selena smiled. You look stressed, darling. Tristan ignored the word and went straight to what mattered. That night, he said, voice controlled, I was drugged during inspection. Something happened. I don't remember everything clearly. Selena's eyes flickered, but she kept smiling. Tristan continued, I left my family heirloom jade pendant with the woman, the Ashford jade. It is not ordinary. Selena nodded quickly. Yes, I remember. Tristan's gaze sharpened. You were the one. Selena didn't hesitate. Yes. Tristan studied her face for a moment. His instincts stirred, but the facts were still incomplete. The missing pendant, the broken memory, the pressure of responsibility. Selena leaned forward. You said you would take responsibility. Tristan's jaw tightened. He didn't answer with romance. He answered with control. I will handle what needs to be handled, he said. Outside the office, the story spread fast. The woman who came in earlier is the CEO's wife. I think he wants to repay her for a favor. She has the Ashford pendant. She's already secured. Kira heard the gossip in pieces while she worked, and as each piece landed, her heart grew heavier because she knew the truth. Selena was lying, but Kira kept her mouth shut. Not because Selena deserved protection, but because scandal could destroy her before she even started. And she could not afford to become the village girl who tried to steal her best friend's man. So she swallowed it for Grandma, for survival, for peace. A few days later, Tristan's order came like thunder behind closed doors. Investigate Harlan, he told Marcus. Full investigation. He made it clear to management. This hotel will not have unspoken rules, no harassment culture, no staff being used like property, but Harlan didn't fold easily. Men like Harlan didn't confess, and they attacked. He began to cover his tracks, smiling in meetings, acting innocent, then turning around to punish Kira. Kira noticed it quickly. He started giving her tasks that made no sense. He spoke to her like she was dirt. Then one evening, he called her to his office. Kira, he said, voice cold, since you want to form righteous girl, you will work. Kira's stomach tightened. Yes, sir. Harlan leaned forward. Tonight you will clean all the toilets alone. Kira's eyes widened. All the toilets? Yes, Harlan said. Every floor, every corner overnight. Kira's lips parted slowly. Sir, that is too much. Harlan smiled without warmth. If you can't do it, you'll be fired tomorrow. Kira's heart sank. She thought of Grandma again. So she did it. She worked until her back felt broken, until her fingers cramped, until her eyes blurred. She scrubbed and mopped until the smell of chemicals entered her nose and made her dizzy. At some point, her body gave up. She sank onto the bathroom floor for just 1 minute, and sleep took her like darkness. The next morning, Tristan heard, not from Harlan, from staff whispers, from the cleaning schedule, from the fact that something didn't add up. He walked into the area calmly, but his eyes were cold. He found Kira slumped near a corner, waking slowly in confusion, her uniform dirty, her face pale. Tristan's chest tightened. He turned to Harlan immediately. If I remember correctly, Tristan said calmly, each cleaning area has shifts, multiple workers. How did one person end up doing the work of an entire team? Harlan stood stiffly. Some people were on leave, sir. I didn't want guest experience to suffer. Tristan's gaze sharpened. So, you thought the best way to protect guest experience was to exhaust an employee until she slept inside a toilet. Harlan's mouth opened. No words came. Tristan's voice remained steady, but it carried steel. From today, Tristan said, Kira will be transferred to a better cleaning unit. VIP rooms, proper schedule, proper support. Kira lifted her head slowly, stunned. Thank you, sir, she whispered. Tristan looked at her briefly, then away. Kira felt something warm and frightening rise in her chest. His kindness shook her. It wasn't loud, it wasn't romantic, it was simple. And that was why it touched her. As she walked away later, holding her cleaning supplies, she wondered quietly, what am I beginning to feel? Gratitude? Attraction? Love? The thought scared her so much she dismissed it immediately because he had someone already and because they were not of the same level in class and she was only trying to survive. She tried to stop thinking about what she had felt for Tristan. She told herself it was only relief, only gratitude, nothing more. But even as she said it, inside her mind, her heart did not fully agree. So she buried herself in work. In the VIP corridor, everything looked different. Cleaner carpets, softer lighting, quieter footsteps. The guests there didn't shout. They didn't drag slippers. They moved like people who had never rushed in their lives. Kira cleaned carefully, the way someone cleans when they know one mistake can end everything. That afternoon, she was pushing her cart when a supervisor called her. Kira, the woman said, not unkindly, take this bathrobe to the CEO suite area. They said the laundry mixed it up. Kira hesitated. CEO suite? Yes, the supervisor replied. Just drop it at the entrance desk there. Don't enter anywhere. Just drop it and come back. Kira nodded quickly. She folded the white bathrobe over her arm and walked. The CEO suite area was a different world entirely. The air felt cooler, quieter, almost like the place didn't want ordinary people breathing inside it. 2 security men stood near the hallway. Kira's heart beat faster as she approached. She greeted softly. Good afternoon. One of them glanced at her uniform and waved her through without much attention. Kira walked down the corridor and saw a small sign that pointed to the suite. She stopped near the door, looking for where to drop the robe, but there was no desk in sight. Just doors, clean walls, silence. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. She took one more step forward, and the soft carpet swallowed her footsteps. Then the door in front of her opened suddenly. Kira froze. Tristan Ashford stepped out. He was in a bathrobe. Not the careless kind, still neat, still expensive looking, but it caught her off guard so badly she forgot how to breathe for a second. His hair was slightly damp, like he had just rinsed his face or washed his hands. No suit, no office mask, just the man. Kira's eyes widened, and she instinctively stepped back, but her foot caught the edge of the cartwheel. The robe slipped from her arm. Kira stumbled. Everything happened at once, too fast to think. Tristan reached out and caught her. His hand closed around her waist, pulling her in before she could fall flat on the carpet. Kira's body hit his chest lightly, and for one shocking second, she was held close. Close enough to feel his warmth, close enough to catch that scent again. That clean, familiar scent, the one her memory always returned to, even when she didn't want it. Kira's breath stopped. Tristan's eyes locked on hers. He didn't speak immediately. His gaze moved over her face as if he was searching for something buried. His grip stayed firm, not rough, but steady, like he didn't even realize he was still holding her. Kira's heart hammered. "Sir," she whispered, trying to pull away. Tristan's eyes narrowed slightly, and then he noticed it again. Not just the scent, the way her body reacted to him. Fear, confusion, and something deeper, like a wound remembering the hand that touched it. His jaw tightened. For a brief moment, something suspicious passed through his face. An ugly question he didn't want to ask because Selena's story was clear in everyone's mouth. But this felt different. Kira forced herself to step back, breaking the closeness. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, bending to pick up the robe with shaking hands. "I didn't know. I was told to bring this. I didn't mean to." Tristan finally spoke, voice low. "Why are you here?" Kira swallowed. "They said I should drop it. I thought there would be a desk." Tristan's eyes remained on her for a moment. Then he looked away as if he didn't want to show what his thoughts were doing. "Give it to the attendant outside," he said. "Yes, sir," Kira replied quickly. Then, because her shame was choking her, she added, "Sorry again." And she rushed out before her body betrayed her with more trembling. As she walked fast down the corridor, her mind was a mess. Why did he look at me like that? Why did my heart do that? And why did his scent always feel like a memory my mind refused to hold? Kira pushed the thoughts away the way she always did, hard and fast, because the CEO had a wife, and Kira could not afford feelings that would destroy her. The moment Selena heard about Kira's visit to the CEO's wing through whispers and eyes that wanted favor, she didn't laugh. She didn't shout. She went straight to Mr. Harlan. Harlan was seated in his office, with the kind of forced calm guilty men wore. His smile came too quickly, his eyes too cold. Selena entered without greeting. "Your village cleaner is becoming bold," she said, dropping into the chair as if she owned the room. Harlan's expression didn't change much. "Which one?" Selena's eyes sharpened. "Kira." Harlan leaned back slightly, watching her. "What about her?" Selena scoffed. "Don't pretend. She's rising too fast. She's now in VIP. Next thing, she will start entering the CEO's suite, like she belongs there." Harlan's mouth twitched with irritation. "She's already entering where she shouldn't enter," he said quietly, as if he was tasting the words. Selena leaned forward. "She's a problem. I don't like problems." Harlan stared at her. "And what do you want me to do?" Selena's voice dropped. "Teach her a lesson." Harlan's eyes narrowed. "If you really are the woman the CEO is responsible for, you should be able to control him yourself." Selena's face flickered just for a second. Then she recovered quickly. "I'm controlling him," she lied smoothly, "but I want her removed before she becomes a bigger distraction." Harlan tapped his finger on the desk, slowly thinking. Selena added, "This is your hotel too. If she gets too close, she will start talking. You know what I mean?" Harlan's face hardened. He understood very well. Selena smiled, slightly satisfied. "So we agree?" Harlan nodded once. "We agree." The next day, Harlan made sure Kira felt his hatred openly. He called her in the hallway in front of other staff. "Kira," he said loudly, "come here." Kira approached carefully, head slightly bowed. "Yes, sir." Harlan looked at her like she was dirt. "So, you think because you entered VIP, you are now special?" Kira's stomach tightened. "No, sir." Harlan smiled without warmth. "You're slow, you're stubborn, and you like attracting attention." People nearby paused to watch. Kira could feel eyes on her body, on her uniform, on her face. Her cheeks burned. Harlan pointed at her cleaning cart. "Move those supplies now. The store needs rearranging." "Yes, sir," Kira replied quietly. He leaned closer, his voice dropping just enough to sound like a threat meant for her alone. "Don't forget your place," Harlan whispered. "This city will swallow you." Kira said nothing. She only nodded and pushed her cart away, holding her tears back with sheer will. Later that afternoon, Kira was told to help move some items, extra linens, cartons of supplies, things the hotel stored in bulk. A junior staff member guided her toward the back. "This way," he said quickly. Kira followed, pushing the cart, trying not to complain. Work was work. Money was money. The corridor grew colder as they walked. The air changed. Kira frowned. "Where are we going?" "The cold storage area," the staff member replied casually. "We just need to drop some things inside quick." Kira hesitated. "Cold storage?" He nodded. "Yes, it won't take long." Inside her, something warned her, but she ignored it because she had learned that refusing tasks in big places could make you lose your job. They reached a heavy door. The staff member pulled it open and cold air rushed out like a slap. Kira shivered immediately. "Put it inside," he said, already stepping back. Kira pushed the cart in, her fingers stiffening from the cold. The room was filled with stacked items, cold lights humming softly overhead. The air felt unnatural. She dropped the cartons where he pointed, then she turned to leave. The door slammed shut. Kira froze. For a second, her mind refused to accept it. Then she rushed to the door and pushed. It didn't open. Kira knocked hard. "Hello? Open the door." No answer. Panic rose in her chest. She banged again louder. "Please open, I'm inside." Silence. Her breath began to puff out in small clouds. The cold was already biting her skin through her uniform. Kira's heart started racing. No, this is not an accident." She slammed her fists against the door. "Help me!" she shouted, voice cracking. "Somebody help me!" Her voice echoed back at her, like the room was mocking her. The cold crawled into her bones. Her fingers began to numb. She stepped backward, shivering violently now, trying to think. "If I sleep, I will not wake up." She wrapped her arms around herself, rubbing hard, pacing in small circles to keep blood moving. Minutes stretched. The cold became a living thing. Her lips started trembling uncontrollably. Her eyes burned from tears she didn't even know were falling. "Grandma," she whispered, barely able to speak now. She hit the door again, weaker. "Please." Her knees buckled slightly. She forced herself upright again, terrified. And then finally, voices, footsteps, a heavy thud at the door. The lock turned. The door opened. Warm air rushed in like salvation. Kira stumbled forward, almost falling out. Hands caught her. "Easy," a voice said sharply. Kira lifted her head, blinking. Tristan Ashford. He was there. His face was hard with anger, not at her, but at what had been done to her. His eyes scanned her quickly, taking in her pale lips, shaking body, and stiff fingers. "Kira," he said, voice tight. "Can you stand?" Kira tried to answer, but her teeth were chattering too hard. She nodded weakly. Tristan took off his suit jacket and threw it around her shoulders without thinking. Then he turned toward the staff behind him, security and managers who had followed. "Who locked this door?" Tristan demanded. Nobody answered fast enough. His voice lowered colder now. "Somebody nearly died here," one of the managers stammered. "Sir, it may have been a mistake." Tristan's eyes cut him down. "Mistake?" he repeated. "Do you call locking a human being inside cold storage a mistake?" Silence. Tristan looked around the corridor, his anger controlled, but dangerous. "From today," he said, "we tighten safety rules. No staff moves items alone. Cold storage access must be logged. Keys must be controlled. If anyone breaks this, they leave this hotel." He turned to Kira again, his voice softer, but still firm. "Take her to the clinic," he ordered. "Now!" As they guided Kira away, she heard staff whispering behind her. "I've never seen him like this. He cares too much. Is she related to him?" Kira kept her eyes down inside. Her chest was tight because she didn't understand why he kept appearing when she was in danger. And she didn't understand why his kindness kept shaking her in places she didn't want to be touched. A few days later, Kira was cleaning when she heard her name from behind. "Kira!" She turned sharply, and her face changed. Elias stood there, smiling softly, rain jacket over his arm, a small travel bag in his hand. Elias was the village pride, the one everyone pointed to and said, "That boy will make it." He was brilliant, educated, respected. Even his posture looked like somebody who had sat in classrooms too long. Kira's mouth opened in surprise. Elias! Elias's smile widened. I came to find you. I asked around until someone directed me here. Kira felt sudden emotion rise in her throat. Why did you come? She asked, though part of her already knew. Elias looked at her face carefully. I heard you left. I was worried. I couldn't sit down. Kira swallowed hard. I'm fine. Elias's eyes moved to her uniform. His expression tightened slightly, not from shame, but from concern. You look tired, he said simply. Have you been eating well? Kira forced a small smile. I'm managing. Elias nodded once. Come, let me buy you food. Proper food. Kira hesitated. Elias, no argument, he said gently. You can't be carrying the whole world on your head. Kira finally nodded. They walked out together. And as they walked, Kira didn't notice the way a car slowed near the entrance. She didn't notice the man inside watching through tinted glass. Tristan Ashford sat quietly in the back seat, eyes narrowed as he watched Kira laugh softly at something Elias said. It wasn't a big laugh, just a small one, the kind Kira rarely allowed herself. Tristan's jaw tightened. A strange irritation rose in him, sharp and unwanted. He didn't understand it. He had no right to it. So why did it feel like someone had taken something that belonged in his sight? His eyes stayed on the two of them until they disappeared into the crowd. Then he looked away, annoyed at himself. Why am I feeling this way? He wondered. And somewhere deep inside, another question whispered behind it. Why does she feel familiar in a way Selena never has? Back at work later, Kira reminded herself of her reality. Tristan was Selena's man. Tristan was the CEO and Kira. Kira was just trying to survive. So even when her heart reacted to him, she kept her distance because the city punished poor girls who forgot their place. Kira kept her distance after the day Tristan watched her with Elias. Not because she didn't feel anything, but because she was afraid of what she might start feeling if she didn't. So she focused on work. She cleaned VIP rooms quietly. She kept her head down. She avoided unnecessary conversations. She reminded herself of the truth every time her heart tried to forget it. Tristan is Selena's man. One afternoon, Lila approached her with a smile that was too sweet. Kira, she said, Madam wants you to come and clean her house. Kira paused. Madam? Lila lowered her voice like it was a privilege. The CEO's wife, Selena. Kira's stomach tightened. Selena had not spoken to her kindly since the day she arrived, but Kira was not in the city to beg for friendship. She was there to work. When? Kira asked. Today? Lila replied quickly. You'll get extra pay. Don't argue. Kira nodded. Extra pay meant Grandma could eat better. The house Selena took her to was not just big. It was the kind of home that announced itself before you even entered. High gates, clean compound, security men who looked like they didn't smile often. A place built for people who didn't want to be questioned. Kira followed the house help inside and tried not to stare too much. Everything was soft. Soft chairs, soft rugs, soft lighting. Even the air smelled like money. Then she saw someone sitting in the living room. An older woman dressed simply, her legs stretched out slightly as if moving, it caused pain. Kira slowed. Something about her face pulled at Kira's memory. And then it hit her. This is the same old woman I helped at the hotel on my first day. Kira blinked, surprised. The woman looked up and her eyes softened slightly as if she recognized Kira too. My daughter, the woman said gently. You. Kira stepped closer politely. Good afternoon, Ma. The woman shifted as if the leg hurt. I had a small sprain, she explained. The doctor said I should rest. Kira nodded, concern rising naturally. Sorry, Ma. She looked around the room, uncertain of what to do first. The house help had already pointed her toward the cleaning supplies, but Kira's eyes stayed on the woman's leg. Ma, Kira said softly, please rest. I will do everything. Even if there is payment, the pay can be yours. The older woman stared at her for a moment, then smiled, small and genuine. You're a good girl, she murmured. Kira didn't know why those words made her chest tighten. She only smiled back and turned toward her work. But before she could begin properly, The front door opened sharply. Selina walked in. She didn't just enter. She stormed in, heels clicking, face tight with entitlement. Her eyes landed on Kira first, and her mouth curved into a look of irritation, like Kira's presence was a stain. Then her eyes moved to the older woman on the sofa. Selina's face changed. "What are you doing there?" she snapped. The older woman looked up calmly. "I'm resting." Selina laughed. It wasn't funny laughter. It was insult laughter. "Resting?" Selina repeated. "On my sofa." Kira froze with a duster in her hand. "Madam," the house help began nervously. "She said her leg." Selina cut her off. "I don't care." She walked closer to the sofa, pointing at the older woman like she was addressing a child. "If you want to rest, go and meet your mates in the village," Selina shouted. "This place is not for loitering around like you own it." The older woman's expression didn't change much, but her eyes turned colder. Kira's stomach twisted. She didn't know who the woman truly was, but she knew this was wrong. "Please," Kira said quietly, unable to keep silent. "She's injured." Selina spun to her, furious. "Shut up, you cleaner! You want to teach me how to run my house?" Kira went quiet, but her eyes stayed fixed on Selina with disbelief. Selina faced the older woman again and reached out as if she wanted to pull her up by force. "Stand up," she snapped. "Get off this sofa." A deep voice filled the room. "Selina." Everyone froze. Kira turned sharply. Tristan Ashford stepped in. He was in a simple shirt and trousers, no tie, no suit jacket, but his presence still carried authority like a shadow. His eyes moved from Selina's raised hand to the older woman on the sofa. "Mom," Tristan said quietly. The word landed like thunder. Kira's heart dropped. Selina's face drained of color. The older woman looked at Tristan, calm again. "So, you've come?" Tristan's eyes narrowed at Selina. "What exactly are you doing?" Selina's lips trembled. "I didn't know she was your mother." Tristan finished for her, voice controlled. "You didn't know she was my mother, so you thought you could treat her like dirt?" Selina's eyes filled quickly with fake tears. "Tristan, please." Tristan raised his hand slightly. "Enough." He walked to his mother, his voice softening. "Are you okay?" Mrs. Elara Ashford nodded slowly. "I'm fine, but now I've seen." Tristan looked confused. "Seen what?" His mother's eyes flicked toward Selina, then back to Tristan. "I have seen her character," she said calmly. "This is not a woman I can call my daughter-in-law." Selina inhaled sharply. "Auntie, please." Mrs. Ashford ignored her and turned to Tristan again, voice firm but quiet. "You can marry who you want, but I will not accept bad character in my family." Kira stood still, holding her cleaning cloth, feeling like she had walked into a storm she didn't understand. Tristan's jaw tightened, but he didn't argue with his mother. His eyes remained on Selina. "Go upstairs," he told Selina coldly. Selina hesitated. "Tristan, I said go upstairs." Selina turned and walked away quickly, her pride bruised. Kira expected Tristan to shout at her too, to ask why she was there, but Tristan only said, "You can continue your work." Kira nodded quickly. "Yes, sir." Later that evening, Kira was already leaving the compound when she heard raised voices from upstairs. Selina's voice was soft now, pleading, "Tristan, please, I didn't mean it. I was just scared. I'm afraid of losing you. That's why I reacted." Tristan's voice remained calm, but cold. "You insulted my mother." Selina sniffed. "I didn't know. If I knew." Tristan cut in. "Even if you didn't know, you shouldn't speak to anybody like that." Selina rushed her words. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Husband." Tristan's response was sharp and flat. "Stop calling me husband," he said. "There is no marriage." Selina went quiet for a moment. Tristan continued. "And don't forget, there is no marriage certificate. Nothing has been done." Selina's voice broke again. "But you promised you would take responsibility." Tristan's silence was heavy. Then he said, "Go and rest." The way he said it, it was not comfort, it was dismissal. And inside her room, Selina's eyes hardened when Tristan turned away. The next day, Mrs. Elara Ashford did not stay in the villa. She left quietly, not because she was angry, but because she had decided something. If Selena was not the right woman, then she would look for the right one herself. She asked questions discreetly. She followed small clues, and soon she walked into the hotel with a calm purpose that made people stand straight. That same day, Kira was working on the VIP floor when she heard a loud argument from the housekeeping corridor. Housekeeping manager, Mrs. Lola, was standing with her hands on her hips, shouting at staff. "We are out of clean sheets," she snapped. "Use the ones you removed. Just spread them again. Nobody will know." Kira froze. "But, Ma," a young staff said nervously, "they haven't been washed." Mrs. Lola waved her hand. "Do you want guests to wait? Use it. Don't waste my time." Kira's chest tightened. She stepped forward before fear could stop her. "Ma," Kira said firmly, "it's not right. Those sheets are used. It's against standard. It's disrespectful to guests." Mrs. Lola turned and stared at her like Kira had insulted her. "What did you say?" Kira stood her ground. "Guests pay for clean rooms. We cannot reuse dirty sheets. It can cause sickness. It can disgrace the hotel." Mrs. Lola's face hardened. "Who do you think you are? A cleaner wants to teach me my job?" Kira swallowed, but she didn't move. "I'm only saying the truth." Mrs. Lola took one step closer, voice low and threatening. You want to lose your job?" Before Kira could answer, another voice entered the corridor. "You're the one that should lose your job." Everyone turned. Mrs. Elara Ashford stood there, not dressed like a rich woman trying to impress, but like a woman who didn't need to prove anything. Her eyes were calm, but the calm was dangerous. Mrs. Lola laughed nervously. "Who is this?" Mrs. Ashford looked at her without blinking. "I am the biggest shareholder of this hotel," she said simply, "and I'm also Tristan Ashford's mother." The hallway went silent. Mrs. Lola's face drained. Mrs. Ashford pointed at the sheets. "This is what you do. You reuse dirty sheets and call it management." Mrs. Lola stammered. "It was just because of shortage." A door opened behind them. Tristan entered. His gaze moved quickly from his mother to the sheets to Kira, and then to Mrs. Lola. "What is happening?" Tristan asked. Mrs. Ashford didn't soften her voice. "Your manager wants guests to sleep on used sheets." Tristan's eyes turned cold. Mrs. Lola panicked. "Sir, it's not like that. We were just trying to stop," Tristan said. His voice was quiet, but it carried finality. "Go to the personnel department," Tristan ordered. "From today, you are no longer the housekeeping manager." Mrs. Lola's knees almost gave way. "Sir, please." Tristan didn't blink. "Leave." Mrs. Lola walked away, shaking. Kira stood still, heart pounding. She didn't know whether to be proud or afraid. Tristan turned to Kira slowly. "You spoke up," he said. Kira nodded. "Yes, sir. I didn't want the hotel to be disgraced." Mrs. Ashford looked at Kira like she was seeing her properly for the first time. "That's a good girl," she said softly. Then to Tristan she said, "Promote her." Tristan hesitated slightly. "Mom, she has character." Mrs. Ashford insisted, "You can teach skill, but you can't buy character." Tristan looked at Kira again, and something unreadable flickered in his eyes. "From today," Tristan said, "Kira, you are deputy manager of housekeeping." Kira's breath caught. Her eyes widened. "Sir, me." Tristan nodded once. "Yes, don't disappoint me." Kira's throat tightened. "Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ma." By the next week, the shift in the hotel was obvious. People greeted Kira differently. Men smiled too much. Some began to accidentally meet her at the corridor. Small gifts started appearing in her locker, perfume samples, chocolates, phone cards, even handwritten notes folded neatly. One note read, "You're too fine to be alone." Another, "Let me take you out." Kira stared at the gifts with confusion. She had never been chased like this before, not like this. She kept most of them aside, untouched. Her life was not romance. Her life was survival. Then one day, Kira took leave for the afternoon. Elias had insisted. "Just eat with me," he said. "You work too much." Kira agreed because she needed one calm moment, one normal moment. They met quietly and sat down to eat. Kira had barely taken 2 bites when a familiar presence darkened the air. She looked up. Tristan Ashford. He was standing there, eyes fixed on her and Elias. Elias rose quickly out of respect. "Good afternoon, sir." Tristan didn't respond to him immediately. His gaze stayed on Kira. "Kira," Tristan said, voice controlled, "this is working hours." Kira's stomach tightened. "Sir, I took leave." Tristan's jaw clenched. "Leave for a date?" Kira blinked, surprised at the sharpness in his tone. Elias shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, she's with me." Tristan lifted his hand slightly, stopping him. His eyes didn't leave Kira. "You're outside," he said. "With him?" Kira felt heat rise in her chest. Not anger, but pressure. She stood slowly. "Yes," she said calmly. "I'm outside." Tristan's voice lowered. "Why?" "Nah." Kira's hands tightened at her sides. She took a breath. "Sir," she began, "I am grateful for everything you have done for me, the way you defended me, the way you helped me." Tristan's eyes softened slightly, then hardened again, like he didn't know what to do with emotion. Kira continued steady now. "But if you keep pestering me, I will quit." Silence fell. Elias's eyes widened slightly. Tristan stared at Kira like he had never been spoken to that way before. Not because the words were rude, but because they were firm, because she meant them. Tristan's throat moved, but he didn't speak immediately. A strange confusion sat on his face, like he had just discovered a feeling he didn't know how to name. He had never felt this way before. Not this sour heat, not this jealousy that embarrassed him, not this pull toward a woman he wasn't supposed to look at twice. Tristan looked at Kira for a long moment, then finally said, "Quiet. Go." Kira didn't wait for him to change his mind. She sat back down, but her hands were shaking under the table. Tristan turned and walked away. And as he walked, his own mind asked him the same question again and again. Why do I feel like this? And why does it feel like it's already too late to stop it? Kira stayed seated with Elias, but her appetite didn't return. Even when she forced herself to smile and nod at Elias's words, her mind kept replaying Tristan's eyes, how they looked angry, then confused, like he didn't recognize himself. He is Selena's man, she reminded herself again. So why was he acting like that? She tried to push it away. She told herself she didn't have time to think about a billionaire's mood. Her life was already too heavy. Still, the unease stayed, and then her body began to speak. It started with small things, nausea in the mornings, a strange tiredness that sat in her bones, a taste in her mouth that refused to go away. At first, she blamed stress. She blamed the long shifts. She blamed the cold storage incident. She blamed everything except the truth. One morning, she woke up and vomited before she even washed her face. Kira stood over the small bucket in the dorm bathroom, shaking. "This is not normal," she whispered. Her head spun, her stomach churned again. She decided that day to see a doctor, not because she had money to waste, but because she could not afford to collapse at work and lose her job. The clinic was small, but clean. Kira sat stiffly in the waiting area. "Hand, Laura. Milk." Hands folded, eyes down. When she was finally called in, she stepped into the consulting room and met a middle-aged doctor with tired eyes. "Good morning," he said. "What's wrong?" Kira tried to sound normal. "Doctor, I've been feeling sick. I just need medicine." The doctor looked at her properly. "How long?" "Some days," Kira replied. "I vomit sometimes. I'm always tired." He asked a few questions, simple ones, but they made Kira uncomfortable. Her last period, her appetite, her sleep, her stress level. Then he said, "We will do a test first." Kira hesitated. "Test? But I just want medicine." The doctor's expression remained firm. "You can't take random drugs, not when we don't know what is wrong." Kira nodded quietly. Minutes later, she sat with the paper in her hands while the doctor studied another copy. He looked up at her. "Kira," he said gently, "you are pregnant." The words did not enter her mind at first. "Pregnant?" Kira blinked. "No," she whispered. "That's not possible." The doctor pushed the test result toward her. "Look," he said softly. "The result is clear." Kira stared at the paper, her eyes moving over it like she didn't understand English anymore. Pregnant. Her throat tightened. Her ears rang faintly. The room suddenly felt too small. She remembered the night she didn't want to remember. The confusion, the drug, the shame. Her hands began to shake. "Doctor," her voice cracked, "are you sure?" He nodded. "I'm sure. That's why you can't take random medicine." Kira swallowed hard, fighting tears. Pregnant meant a child, a life, a responsibility she hadn't planned for. And then her mind went somewhere darker, back to the words she had grown up hearing. Bastard, burden, no father. Kira's parents had died when she was still small. She didn't even remember their faces clearly. All she remembered was how some people in the village used it against her, how they would say, "She's not even anybody's child," like she was a thing that dropped from the sky. But Grandma Alara loved her anyway. Grandma had held her when she cried. Grandma had defended her when people spoke carelessly. Grandma had raised her with the kind of love that didn't ask for permission. Kira lowered her head, tears falling quietly. The doctor watched her for a moment. "Do you have someone to tell?" Kira wiped her face quickly. "No," she whispered. "I don't." He sighed. "You need rest. You need proper food, and you need to decide what you want to do." Kira lifted her head slowly. Her eyes were wet, but there was something firm growing inside them. "I will keep it," she said. The doctor paused. "Are you sure?" Kira nodded. "Yes." Even if she had no husband, even if the world insulted her, even if she suffered, she would keep her baby because she knew what it meant to be unwanted, and she couldn't do that to another life. Kira returned to the hotel with her body tired and her mind heavy. She didn't tell anyone. Not Elias, not Lila, not even Grandma yet. She needed time to breathe inside the truth first, but the hotel did not give her peace. That same week, Selena's anger was growing like fever. Kira saw it in small ways. The way Selena's eyes followed her in the hallway. The way she spoke to staff like she was the real owner of the place. The way she smiled too much when she heard gossip about Kira. Selena went back to Harlan. "She's still standing," Selena said, voice low after everything. Harlan's jaw tightened. "I warned you. She's stubborn." Selena leaned forward. "Then break her." Harlan stared at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "We'll arrange something," he said. Selena's voice dropped colder. "Arrange it fast." It happened in the staff corridor. Kira was walking with a small box of supplies when she heard a strange creak above. Before she could even lift her head properly, something heavy fell. A fixture from the ceiling, metal and glass, came down like it had been waiting. Kira gasped and tried to jump back, but it was too late. It struck her shoulder and grazed her head. Pain exploded behind her eyes. She stumbled, the box falling from her hands. The floor rushed toward her. Voices shouted, "Kira, call someone! Jesus!" Kira blinked hard, trying to focus, but everything was spinning. Her head throbbed violently, her ears rang. She tasted blood. Someone lifted her carefully. Someone else held her face and told her, "Stay awake." Kira's heart pounded in fear, not because of the pain, but because she understood something clearly now. This was not just bad luck. Someone was trying to remove her. Kira was taken to the clinic inside the hotel. The doctor there checked her and confirmed it was a mild concussion. "You're lucky," he said. "It didn't hit a fatal place, but you need rest." Kira sat quietly, holding her head, eyes blank. Then Selena walked in. Her face was full of fake concern. "Kira," she cried, rushing forward like a loving sister. "Oh my God, what happened? Are you okay?" Kira stared at her. The fear in her chest turned into something else, something sharper. "I'm fine," Kira said softly. Selena sat close, taking Kira's hand like she cared. Then she lowered her voice. "Kira, are you pregnant?" Kira's whole body went still. Her eyes moved to Selena's face. Selena squeezed her hand lightly. "Don't be scared. I'm your friend. You can tell me." Kira didn't answer. Selena's smile softened. "Kira, listen to me. This child can't stay." Kira's eyes narrowed slightly. Why? Selena sighed like she was carrying Kira's burden. Because you're not married, Selena said. Because the father is not there. Because this baby will become a shame. Kira's throat tightened. Selena continued, voice sharper now. Do you want to give birth to a bastard? A burden? A child that will suffer because you were careless? Kira's hands slowly pulled away from Selena's grip. She stared at her friend, the same person she had once shared dreams with, and she felt something in her break quietly. My child is not a bastard, Kira said. Selena blinked. Kira's voice grew firmer. This is my life. This is my baby. I will work hard. I will take care of my child. Even if I suffer, I will not kill my baby because people want to insult me. Selena's eyes hardened for half a second. Then she forced a smile again. Okay, she said softly, if that's what you want. But inside her eyes, Kira saw the truth. Selena wasn't concerned. She was threatened. She left the clinic and didn't go home to cry. She went straight to a place where she could think, because she knew something others didn't know. She knew who the real father was, and if Kira carried that pregnancy to full term, Selena's lies would collapse. So she decided to act fast. That night, Selena went to Tristan. She entered his space with confidence, tears already prepared in her eyes. Tristan, she said softly, I need to tell you something. Tristan looked up from his phone, expression guarded. What is it? Selena swallowed dramatically, then placed a hand on her stomach. I'm pregnant, she said. Tristan's face didn't change immediately, but his eyes tightened slightly. Pregnant? He repeated. Selena nodded quickly. With your child. Silence filled the room. Selena rushed her words. I wanted to tell you in a special way, but things are happening. People are talking. Your family, your mother. I need you to protect me. Tristan stared at her for a long moment. His mind didn't settle. Something about it felt too neat, too convenient, but Selena kept pressing the story. You are the only son, she said, voice trembling. Your child will be precious. Your father will want to know. Everybody will want to know. And by morning, rumors began to spread like smoke. The CEO's wife is pregnant. Supplements are being delivered to her. Special treatment. The heir is coming. Staff whispered it with excitement, with envy, with fear. Kira heard it too. She stood in the hallway with her head still aching from the concussion, her hand resting unconsciously on her own stomach. And for the first time since she arrived in the city, she felt truly trapped. Because Selena's lie wasn't just a lie anymore. It was becoming a wall. And Kira was standing on the wrong side of it, holding a truth that could destroy her if it came out. She stood in the hallway for a long time after the rumors spread. People were whispering openly now. The CEO's wife is pregnant. Supplements are already being delivered. Every time Kira heard it, her stomach tightened. Not because she wanted what Selena was claiming, but because she knew Selena was lying. And Kira was the one holding the truth that could destroy her. Kira returned to work with her head down. She avoided eye contact. She answered greetings with small nods. She kept her hand away from her stomach in public, even though she felt like her body had become a secret walking on two legs. That evening, she was called unexpectedly. Not by Harlan, not by Lila, by Tristan. The message came through the front desk. The CEO wanted to see Deputy Manager Kira. Kira's mouth went dry. When she got to his office, she found Tristan standing by the window again, quiet and serious. The room smelled expensive, clean, controlled, everything her life was not. He turned when he heard her. Kira, he said. Yes, sir, she replied softly. Tristan's eyes stayed on her face. Sit. Kira sat slowly, careful. Her heart beat too fast. Tristan spoke like a man trying to choose words properly. I heard about the incident, he said. The fixture that fell, the concussion. Kira nodded. Yes, sir. He paused, then added, I'm sorry. Kira blinked, surprised. Billionaires didn't apologize to cleaners. Even if she was deputy manager now, her background was still written on her skin. It's okay, sir, she murmured quickly. It's not okay, Tristan corrected gently. Too many things have happened around you since you arrived." His eyes narrowed slightly, like he was still counting those things in his mind. Freezer, harassment, exhaustion, accident. "Kira," he said, "I want to take you out to eat." Kira froze. "Sir?" Tristan didn't look embarrassed. He looked determined. "I want to apologize properly," he said, "and I want to talk to you without people watching." Kira's throat tightened. A part of her wanted to refuse immediately. A bigger part of her remembered Grandma's warning. Don't let anybody use your desperation against you. But Tristan hadn't used her. He had defended her, and yet he was Selena's man. That truth sat between them like a wall. "I don't know, sir," Kira said carefully. Tristan's mouth curved slightly, not quite a smile. "It's just food, Kira, not marriage." Kira felt heat rise to her face. After a moment, she nodded slowly. "Okay, sir." The restaurant was the kind of place Kira had only seen in films. Soft lights, quiet music, people speaking in low voices. Like loudness was a sin. Waiters who moved like shadows, plates that looked too clean to touch. Kira sat stiffly across from Tristan, her hands in her lap. She kept looking at the menu like it was written in another language. Tristan noticed. "What do you want?" he asked. Kira swallowed. "Anything simple is fine." Tristan leaned back slightly, studying her. "You're worried about money." Kira's eyes flickered. She tried to laugh, but it came out thin. "Sir, I can't afford this place." Tristan's expression softened, and for the first time his voice had lightness inside it. "It's okay," he said. "I have coupons." Kira blinked. He actually meant it as a joke, and the shock of it almost made her smile. "A billionaire with coupons?" she asked before she could stop herself. Tristan's mouth curved properly this time. "Even billionaires like discounts." Kira smiled. Small, careful, but real. And for a moment the air between them felt normal. Tristan watched her like he didn't want the moment to end, but Kira's body had other plans. As soon as the food arrived, the smell hit her. Her stomach turned violently. Kira stiffened, her hand gripping the edge of the chair. Tristan noticed immediately. "Kira, are you okay?" Kira swallowed hard, trying to hold it down. "I'm fine." But her body betrayed her. She stood up quickly and covered her mouth, rushing toward the restroom. Tristan rose immediately, but he didn't follow her inside. He stood outside, waiting, his face tightening with concern. Inside, Kira vomited until her eyes watered. When she finally came out, her face was pale. She tried to wipe her mouth calmly, but she couldn't hide the weakness. Tristan stepped closer. "You're not fine." Kira forced a small smile. "It's maybe stress." Tristan's eyes narrowed. "Or something else." Kira looked away. That was when a familiar voice cut into the moment like a knife. "Oh my God, Kira." Kira froze. She turned slowly. Selena stood there dressed beautifully. Hair flawless, bag expensive, lips glossy. She looked like someone who had come to prove she belonged among wealthy people, and she was smiling too sweetly. "Kira," Selena said loudly, drawing attention. "Are you all right? You're vomiting like a pregnant woman." Kira's blood went cold. Tristan turned sharply to Selena. "Selena." Selena rushed forward, pretending concern, but her eyes were shining with something else. Something pleased. "Oh, darling," she said, touching Tristan's arm as if claiming him in front of everyone. "I was looking for you." Then she turned back to Kira, voice still loud, still sweet. "Kira, don't tell me you're pregnant too," Selena said with fake shock. "Huh? Is this how you want to spoil yourself?" Kira stood still, unable to speak. People nearby started looking. Whispers began instantly. Tristan's face hardened. "Selena, stop!" Selena ignored him and leaned closer to Kira like a friend, like a sister, like a snake. "Kira," she said softly now, but with a smile, "who is responsible?" Kira's throat tightened. Tristan's eyes moved to Kira's face. The question Selena threw like a joke became heavy in the air. Tristan asked it himself quietly, directly like he needed the truth to stand on. "Kira," he said, voice low, "who is the baby's father?" Kira's lips parted. No sound came. She couldn't say Tristan's name. She couldn't say Selena is lying. She couldn't say anything without setting fire to her own life. Selena sighed dramatically. "Don't mind her," Selena told Tristan, shaking her head like she was disappointed. "Some girls don't learn. After all the harassment Harlan tried before, it wouldn't surprise me if she fell into something messy." Kira's eyes snapped up. That was what Selena wanted. To stain her name publicly, to make people believe Kira's pregnancy came from shame. Kira's hands trembled. Tristan stared at Kira, then at Selena. Something dark passed through his face. Anger, confusion, suspicion. But Kira said nothing, and her silence sounded like guilt to strangers. Tristan's jaw tightened. He didn't shout. He didn't make a scene. He only said coldly, "Selena, leave." Selena blinked. "Darling, leave." Tristan repeated sharper. Selena's smile stayed, but her eyes flashed with irritation before she turned and walked away. Kira stood there, humiliated, exposed, shaking. Tristan looked at her, his voice lower now. "Kira, why won't you answer me?" Kira's eyes filled slightly. She shook her head. "I can't," she whispered. That was all she could give. Tristan's chest tightened. He didn't press further. Not there, not in public. He only said, "Let's go." That night, Tristan returned to his mansion and walked through it like a man carrying stones in his chest. He couldn't sleep. He sat alone in the quiet, the lights too bright, the rooms too empty, his mind replaying one thing again and again. Kira's silence, her pregnancy, the question that had no answer. His thoughts turned naturally to Elias. He pictured Kira laughing softly with him, eating with him, looking relaxed with him in a way she never looked around Tristan. And jealousy rose in Tristan like something poisonous and unfamiliar. He didn't like it. He didn't understand it. He had always been in control of himself. So why did this one woman, this staff member, make him feel like a man who didn't know his own heart? He rubbed his face, frustrated. Then another thought crawled in quietly, unwanted. What if it's not Elias? The thought made his chest tighten even more. Selena returned to the hotel that same night with a different kind of energy. She wasn't smiling sweetly anymore. She went straight to Harlan. "You saw it," she said, voice low and sharp. "She's pregnant." Harlan's face stiffened. "Yes." Selena's eyes burned. "If she gives birth, I'm finished." Harlan leaned back, pretending calm, but fear lived behind his eyes too. Selena stepped closer and lowered her voice to a whisper that sounded like a command. "She must die tonight." Harlan's throat moved. "Selena!" "Don't argue with me," Selena hissed. "Handle it." Two staff members passing nearby heard only fragments, "die tonight," and quickly looked away, pretending they heard nothing. Because in big places, people often pretend not to hear evil. Kira couldn't sleep either, not because of jealousy, because of fear. She lay on her dorm bed, staring at the ceiling, her hands resting lightly on her stomach, like she was protecting something fragile from the world. She kept hearing Selena's voice in her head. "Bastard! Spoil yourself." She kept seeing people's eyes at the restaurant, how they looked at her like she was dirty. Kira sat up slowly. This city was not just hard, it was dangerous. And now her pregnancy had become public shame. If she stayed, Selena would crush her. If she stayed, Harlan would keep attacking her. If she stayed, she might not survive long enough to protect her baby. So Kira made a decision the way desperate people do, quickly, painfully, without romance. She would quit. She would disappear. She would find a small job somewhere else, far away from this hotel, far away from Selena, far away from Tristan, even if it meant starting again with nothing. At dawn, Kira packed quietly. She wrote a short resignation letter with shaking hands. She didn't tell Lila. She didn't tell Elias. She didn't tell anyone. She only left. The road was still quiet when Kira got into a public vehicle, heading out. Her heart was pounding, but she kept telling herself she was doing the right thing. Just get far. Just breathe. Just survive. She held her bag close, her eyes scanning outside, watching for anything suspicious. Then, without warning, a car swerved aggressively. The driver of Kira's vehicle shouted. Everything happened at once. A screech, a sharp turn, a violent impact. Kira's body jerked forward. Her head hit something hard. Her world went white for a second. Then darkness rushed in. Tristan was in his office later that morning when he tried to reach Kira. He didn't know why he was calling. He only knew he couldn't let the night end the way it had ended. But Kira's phone didn't go through. Again and again. No answer. Then Marcus entered, face tense. "Sir," Marcus said quickly, "we have a situation." Tristan looked up sharply. "What?" Marcus hesitated only a second. "Kira, she was involved in a crash this morning." Tristan stood so fast his chair moved back. "What crash?" he demanded. Marcus's voice became urgent. "They said it looked like another car forced them off balance. She's been taken to the hospital." Tristan grabbed his keys and his phone in one movement. "Call the best medical team," he ordered, already walking. "Tell them she's pregnant." Marcus's eyes widened. "Sir, now!" Tristan snapped. And as he stormed out, one thought drowned every other thought in his mind. Not her, not now, not my. He stopped himself before the sentence could finish. But his legs didn't stop moving because whatever was happening, Tristan Ashford was already in motion. And this time he wasn't coming as a boss. He was coming like a man who was afraid of losing something he had only just begun to understand. Tristan arrived at the hospital like a storm. He didn't walk in slowly, like a rich man who had time. He moved fast, his face hard, his phone already pressed to his ear as he gave orders. "Best team," he said. "No delays. Protect the pregnancy. I want updates every minute." Marcus followed behind him, breathing hard. "Sir, they've taken her in. She hit her head." Tristan didn't answer. His eyes were fixed ahead, his mind refusing to imagine the worst. When he finally got into the private ward, Kira was lying on the bed, pale, with a small bandage on her forehead. Machines beeped softly around her. She looked smaller than he had ever seen her. For a second, Tristan's expression cracked. Then it hardened again. "Is she stable?" he asked the doctor. "Yes," the doctor replied. "Mild trauma, but she's awake. We're monitoring her closely. The pregnancy is still intact, but she must avoid stress." Tristan exhaled once like he had been holding his breath since morning. He stepped closer to Kira. Kira's eyes opened fully when she sensed him. She tried to sit up, but pain pulled her back. "Don't move," Tristan said quickly, his voice softer than usual. Kira stared at him, confused and tired. "Sir, I tried to leave. I didn't want trouble." Tristan's jaw tightened. "You were forced off the road." Kira blinked, fear returning. "So, it wasn't an accident?" "No," Tristan said firmly. "It wasn't." "Nate?" He sat in the chair beside her bed. For a moment, he just looked at her face like he was trying to memorize it properly this time. Then his eyes dropped briefly toward her shoulder area, where the hospital gown shifted slightly. "Kira," he said quietly, "there's something I need to ask you." Kira swallowed. "Okay." Tristan's voice lowered. "Do you have a mark? A scar around here?" He gestured carefully, not touching her. Kira's eyes widened slightly, like she was surprised he knew. "Yes," she whispered. "I do. It's small. I've had it since I was young." "Porsa." Tristan went still. His gaze sharpened. It wasn't just the mark. It was the way her eyes reacted, the way her body tensed when he mentioned it. The memory that had been incomplete for so long suddenly snapped into place like two broken pieces finally finding each other. The drugged night, the panic, the scent, the pendant, the girl. Tristan's mouth went dry. "Kira," he said slowly, voice tight. "That night, after it happened, did you see any jade pendant?" Kira blinked. "Pendant? The Ashford jade?" Tristan said, "the one I always wore." Kira shook her head immediately. "No, I never saw it. I woke up confused and left. I didn't take anything from you." Tristan closed his eyes briefly. It was like someone poured cold water on his spine. If Kira never saw it, then how did Selena end up with it? His eyes opened again, darker now. "Selena," he said quietly, almost to himself. Kira's throat tightened. "Selena lied," she whispered finally. "I knew, but I was scared. I didn't want people to say I was trying to steal your relationship." Tristan's jaw clenched. All the strange feelings he'd been fighting, the doubt, the suspicion, the mismatch suddenly made sense. He leaned forward slightly. "Kira," he said, voice firm, "Selena will not touch you again. She will not touch this pregnancy. I promise you." Kira's eyes filled, not with romance, with relief. Tristan stood up. "Rest. I'm going to end this." Selena arrived at the hospital like someone arriving to claim a prize. Her eyes were wild. Her voice was loud. Her tears were ready. "Tristan," she shouted as she pushed into the hallway. "Where is he? Where is my husband?" Security tried to stop her, but she pushed past them like she owned the place. When she saw Tristan outside Kira's ward, she rushed forward. "You see," she cried, "you're still running after her. She seduced you. She's trying to take my place." Tristan didn't flinch. Selena stepped closer, voice rising higher. "I'm pregnant with your child. If you don't marry me today, I will abort it. I swear I will." Tristan's face remained calm. Then he said the words that shattered her confidence. "Let's go to the hospital and confirm your pregnancy." Selena froze. "What?" she stammered. Tristan's eyes sharpened. "You said you're pregnant. Fine. We confirm it now. Today." Selena's mouth opened and closed. She stepped back slightly, then forced a laugh. "Tristan, why are you embarrassing me like this?" Tristan didn't blink. "Because I'm tired of lies." Selena's eyes darted, searching for an escape. Tristan raised his hand slightly and Marcus stepped forward, holding a small evidence bag. Inside was the Ashford jade pendant. Selena's breath caught. Tristan's voice dropped lower. "You don't deserve this." Selena's face twisted. "Where did you get that?" Tristan stared at her. "Where did you get it?" Selena's body went stiff. The hallway was quiet now. Nurses slowed down. People watched from a distance, sensing something serious. Selena's voice shook. "Tristan, Tristan stepped closer. "You stole it." Selena's eyes flashed with anger now that her tears had failed. "Yes." She snapped suddenly like the truth burned out of her. "I stole it." Everyone gasped softly. Selena pointed wildly, voice loud. "Marcus came to the village to ask questions. He was asking for the girl you slept with, but Kira had already left. She had gone to the city." Her chest rose and fell fast. "I saw my chance," Selena spat. "My chance to finally escape poverty. My chance to become somebody." She laughed bitterly. "Friendship? What friendship feeds a woman? I wanted wealth. I wanted status. I wanted to be Mrs. Ashford. Kira, weak but awake, heard the shouting and tried to sit up. Tears rolled down her face silently. Selena's eyes landed on Kira inside the ward, and something ugly snapped. She rushed forward, trying to push into the room. "You think you've won?" she screamed. "You village rat!" She lunged at Kira, but security grabbed her arms immediately. Selena fought like a mad person, shouting, kicking, trying to break free. Tristan's voice cut through the chaos like steel. "Call the police!" Within minutes, officers arrived. Selena was dragged away, still screaming, still calling Kira names, still swearing she would not allow it. But this time, her voice did not carry power. It carried desperation. And the law did not care about her desperation. She was arrested and charged, and Tristan submitted everything. Witness reports, the staged crash evidence, her threats, pendant theft, everything pointing to attempted murder. Tristan didn't stop with Selena. He went after the rest. He handed over evidence against Mr. Harlan, records, staff statements, financial trails, the drugging reports, the accidents, the harassment pipeline. Harlan was arrested on multiple charges: fraud, money laundering, harassment, and the darker thing he thought he could hide behind power. When Kira heard Harlan had been taken, she closed her eyes and cried quietly, not because she pitied him, but because she finally felt safe. Mrs. Alara Ashford came to the hospital later that day, walking into the ward with calm authority. When she saw Kira lying there, she stepped closer and held her hand gently. "My daughter," she said softly. Kira tried to sit up. "Ma, rest," Mrs. Ashford said. "You've suffered." Then she turned to Tristan. eyes bright, with something that looked like victory. "She's carrying Ashford bloodline," she said with joy. "My grandchild." Tristan's eyes softened for a brief moment. Mrs. Ashford smiled. "God did not shame us." Kira's tears fell again, but this time they were mixed with relief and disbelief. Weeks later, when Kira was stronger, Tristan invited her somewhere quiet. A luxury garden filled with soft green grass and calm flowers. A place that didn't feel like the hotel, a place that felt like peace. Kira walked slowly, still careful with her body. Tristan stood waiting, dressed simply, but his eyes were serious, like this moment mattered more than any business deal he had ever signed. "Kira," he said. Kira stopped in front of him, nervous. Tristan took a breath. "I'm sorry," he began, "for the suffering, for the humiliation, for the danger." Kira's eyes filled. Tristan continued, "I didn't protect you fast enough. I didn't recognize the truth fast enough, but I'm here now." He stepped closer. "I will love you fully," he said, "and I will protect you and our child for the rest of my life." Then he knelt. Kira's breath caught. "Kira," Tristan said, voice steady, "will you marry me?" Kira covered her mouth as tears spilled over. She turned slightly because she sensed movement behind, and her heart stopped for a second. Grandma was there, standing carefully with support, wearing a clean wrapper and scarf, looking healthier, looking cared for. Kira's eyes widened. "Grandma," her voice broke. Tristan stood up and explained quietly, "I moved her to a good house in town. She has help, drivers, anything she needs." Kira's knees nearly gave way. She rushed to Grandma and held her tightly, crying like a child. Grandma stroked her hair gently. "My daughter," she whispered, "God has remembered you." Kira turned back to Tristan, tears everywhere, and finally, with a shaking smile, she said, "Yes." When Kira returned to the hotel later as the real woman beside Tristan, the news spread fast. "The real Mrs. Ashford. It's Kira." People who used to look down on her now greeted her like they had always loved her. Lila was the loudest in shock. Lila found Kira privately, eyes full of regret. "Kira," she whispered, voice shaking, "I'm sorry. I neglected you. I followed wrong people. I didn't know it would be you." Kira looked at her calmly. "It doesn't matter now," she said softly. "I'm not fighting anybody again." Because Kira was tired of fighting, and for the first time she didn't have to. In the end, Kira chose peace. Not as a cleaner, not as a victim, not as the village girl everyone insulted, but as the woman who survived the storm, protected her child, held on to her dignity, and still found love in the middle of danger. And as she stood beside Tristan in the quiet of their new life, one truth settled in her heart gently. She didn't win because she became rich. She won because she refused to let pain turn her into someone she wasn't.